Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle and I'm here with my next 5 favorites Transformers video. This time I'm covering the Generation 2 Decepticons. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, Generation 2 had mixed reviews. It had some things that were brand new, but a lot of things initially that were recolors of G1 stuff, sometimes modified. But still, there were some gems that came out in that line. And I'm gonna go over my 5 favorites right now. Well, let's roll the bumper. Be right back. So I'm gonna do it slightly differently because I am gonna actually show you the vehicle mode first and then the robot mode. And the first one on my list is Windrazor, leader of the Skyscorchers. Yes, he's a very small plane. He was also known as Tornado in Europe. And he was gonna be Sky Tornado if they released him in Japan, but they apparently never did. But he is a jet. I'm not sure exactly what kind, but very cool deco. Kind of reminiscent of G1 Starscream, though more gray than white, with a blue tail fin, blue nose, and a blue jet coming out the ass. Now, despite the fact that he was small, he did have landing gear, as you can see on the bottom here. So this landing gear actually flips up into the nose. These are actually his feet, and if you straighten them out, that's retracting the landing gear. He also has weapon storage, so weapon storage was very cool. I actually like all the Skyscorchers, but of them all, I think that this guy is the coolest looking, and he can fly. Well, kinda. I can make him fly. No, I'm not gonna do that. That might damage him. So he came out in 1993, was also released as Tornado in Europe at the same time. The initial packaging did not have the Generation 2 stuff on it. And actually looking at him, I am not seeing a Decepticon symbol except on the bottom of the wing. Right there it has a Decepticon symbol and it says Decepticon, just in case you didn't understand the symbol. Which could be the fact because they did modify the symbols for Generation 2. So the transformation is pretty clever. I'm gonna remove the weapon, which is a bomb/gun. It's a gun with a bomb on top. And you would actually swing the wings forward, which is a kind of neat change. A simple transformation, but still pretty well set up. I think I need to zoom out a little bit so you can see him in all his glory there. Now, unfortunately, this Skyscorcher has a slight bit of damage in the joint that attaches his nose cone to basically these plugs that come out of the side of his head that are kind of like Frankenstein. So I gotta be a little careful so that that doesn't fall off. I mean, it is a toy that's 31 years old, but gun goes in the hand. Let's take a look at him from all sides. He's a pretty cool looking robot. You can see on the back of his head there is translucent yellow plastic that goes to his eyes, so he has light piping, matches his cockpit canopy. The guns for all the Skyscorchers looked like bombs that you would attach underneath, but when you took them out, they would have pistol style stuff on them. Looking at his back, you can see on the wing, again, the Decepticon G2 symbol and the word Decepticon. And he's got some interesting stickers. He's got an eagle on his tail fin. Now, Windrazor here, they did reuse that name for a BotCon exclusive, who was a repaint of Silverbolt. And other names that have been used, they used Windrazor for the Autobot Air Team jet from Energon in 2004. 2007 was a female Autobot Minicon motorcycle from the Micron booster line. In 2009, it was a Minicon Pterodon from the Universe toy line. And then there was a Predecon in 2013, I think in Prime. So this name has been used over and over again, but this is the first one, and again, one of my favorites. Now, posability-wise, the legs don't move. He's got about as much articulation as a G1 in there. The arms can move back and forth. The head does not turn. So just he's a cool looking figure. I like his transformation. I like his alt mode. And that's the first one in my favorite G2 Decepticons. The second one should be as no surprise as he was in my G1 stuff. It is Starscream. So this is the Generation 2 Starscream. You can see he's got a bit of stickers all over him that don't necessarily need to be there. But he's got actually G1 Decepticon symbols on him, which is interesting. I'm actually seeing only imprinted onto the side. You can see a G2 Decepticon symbol and the word Decepticon there. But the stickers that came with him and were on his wings, those are G1 symbols. So, but still a very cool version of Starscream, and he comes with a little itty bitty, not that itty bitty, but a sound generator that you could plug onto his back and press. So you could have jet sounds, you could have machine gun style sounds, sputtering sounds. It's pretty neat. No voice, unlike the voice changer that came, or the sound thing that came with Optimus and Megatron had built-in sounds. No voicing. I'm Commander Starscream. Get out of my fucking way. That'd be hilarious. Gotta reprogram one of these things if I actually knew how. And it's actually slightly made for aerodynamics because it has tail fins on the end. So you can put it on him in his vehicle mode. So transformation just like the G1. Now I'm looking at this, I don't know if, since I did not get an original G2 Starscream in the package, I bought it much later. I don't know if the stickers are from a G1 or if they just included the G1 stickers in with the G2. So there he is in his robot mode, pretty much the G1, only the missile launchers are definitely different. He's got these long purple-ass missiles that shoot out with quite a bit of force, actually. And they're made so not so easy to choke on them. Though, again, even though they're long, I mean, you put it straight down your throat, you could probably choke on it, you know, if you're into choking. But some definite differences. You can see the gray feet, gray tail fins, gray wings, gray fists. And unlike the G1, he's got these little extrusions on his back, just so you could plug this in vehicle mode, or even for storage purposes while he's in robot mode. Now I can fit the detachable front landing gear inside his canopy, which is nice. Reminiscent of the G1s, not so reminiscent of some of the reissues and the counterfeit stuff where it's just a tad bit too long. But that's my second one, Generation 2 Starscream. A very cool redeco. You could almost call him a different character if you wanted to, but I like him. So my next ones, 3 and 4, well, they kind of go as a set. The first one is Smokescreen, and yes, this is not the Autobot from Generation 1, so this is a reused name, but he is a jet of, I don't know what type, I couldn't find. They basically said he's a jet of undetermined type, but he is blue and teal and red and black. He actually looks pretty cool. He's got the 2 missile launchers on the side that he can use as guns, and you can see on his wings, he's got the G2 Decepticon symbol. Now this mold has been used several other times. It was used for Starscream in the Beast Wars the Second Starscream and BB set. It was also used for Robot Masters. They put together another set with some additional weapons that used the same mold. Now, they were actually for Generation 2, had the line lasted longer. Gonna put out this as Starscream and Dreadwing. Would actually be Megatron, which is kind of weird because you're expecting Dreadwind and Megatron to work together. So because they go as a set, before I get into any robot modes and such, I'm gonna bring out number 4, which is Dreadwing, a huge bomber with a Gatling gun style launcher on the bottom, and he comes with tons of missiles. So let's add those on. So one of the problems with this version, which they've worked out some fixes in later versions, was putting in these missiles, well, they would just fall out. There was nothing to keep them in. So they did fix that for a bit for BB, and in the Robot Masters line, somewhat. I actually haven't messed around with it too much. So 6 missiles go in there. You can already see there's 2 on Smokescreen, and the other missiles actually plug in below the wings and just kind of pop in there. 3 on each side. So he has 12 missiles. Smokescreen has 2 for a total of 14, and this is the case with Starscream and BB and the Robot Masters versions as well, who I think Smokescreen in the Robot Masters line is called Smoke Jumper. There may have also been a Universe line version. So yes, this particular mold was released along with Smokescreen 3 more times. One as BB and Starscream, then the Robots in Disguise version of Dreadwind, and I think it was Smoke Jumper, and then it was Giant Bomb in Robot Masters. But still a very cool stealth jet. Now he actually does have landing gear, which you can fold up here, and he could fly around, and by pressing these buttons on the top, it would push down the bomb, and he could drop bombs onto unsuspecting Autobots below. Now, these bombs in here, if you turn the crank, it will actually shoot out these missiles. I don't want to shoot them too far, and they just fall out, but they can go a good distance. I'm gonna put these missiles over here for now. Now, Smokescreen also has landing gear here, here, and here, and his missiles, again, launch pretty well. Now, you do have to take, I believe, off these missile launchers. Now, we can try it with, because Smokescreen can go up, there we go, with the missile launchers on, but if there are missiles in it, it looks like it doesn't allow it to penetrate when he goes up his ass quite as far. And even with the guns on, yeah, I think you have to take the entire thing off, and then if you push it all the way in, it becomes a huge stealth bomber. But then when you pull it out, pulling out is good, the wings go up for his second mode. So Dreadwing actually has a second mode, which is kind of a tank. So he's kind of a triple changer. So the tank's kind of meh. So you put the Gatling gun, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Put the Gatling gun on top. You can flip open his treads on the sides, load him up with missiles, and I'll just put one in just for demonstration, and he becomes a tank type vehicle that can shoot a bunch of bombs. And you can still put these on the side if you want, and he could just launch them. While he's doing his bombing runs, of course, Smokescreen is just flying around and harassing Autobots, because that's what he likes to do. Then, of course, there's the robot modes, which are clever transformations. Interestingly enough, while you can certainly arm Dreadwing, the G1s just, confuse me, because they had Darkwing and Dreadwing, who became Darkwing, but this is just Darkwing, who oddly does have a combined mode. But while you could do that, you could also equip him with one of Smokescreen's guns, according to the instructions, so he can have a gun of his own. Now, Smokescreen himself, a much smaller bot, but a pretty clever transformation. And the way the wings go are actually kind of reminiscent of Windrazor. So there is Smokescreen and Dreadwing. You can take a look at them from all angles. A very cool team. Again, used 3 more times in Transformers, though the only show appearance was in Beast Wars II. Now, to go over the posability real quick on these guys. Now, Smokescreen could do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, though his nose and back kind of levitates him a little bit. But he can kick forward pretty well, backwards not so much because of the kibble. He can do side kicks. Now, he doesn't really have a bend at the knee because he's got this weird side joint, so that's unfortunate. But his arms, if it was not for the wings in the way, could go all the way around. But he can bend at the elbow. He even has a nice swivel. And his head can turn. You might also notice on the head he's got the red translucent to the back, so light piping to make his eyes glow, if you can have light hitting him from that angle. So a pretty cool figure overall. Now, Dreadwing, on the other hand, he does have some articulation. I'm going to take the missiles out because they're just going to fall. And amazingly, he can do pretty much a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. The only thing that keeps his legs from going fully back into a straight line is the kibble on the back. But he can kick forward. He can kick, not really back that much because he runs into kibble. But he can do a side kick. He does bend somewhat at the knee. It's not a huge bend, not fully 90 degrees, but it's there. The arms can actually go all the way around because you can angle it so it misses the back wing. Bends at the elbow. Does actually have a swivel, which is impressive. Though the kibble on his arm makes it kind of difficult. You can also turn his shoulder cannon and his head. And he also does have the light piping, so his eyes will glow. So a pretty cool figure, and this pair is 3 and 4 on my list. Do I have the others? I think I got rid of Starscream and BB, unfortunately, during the Great Purge, but I'm pretty sure I have the Universe version and the Robot Masters version, so we may see those again at some point. All right, and our last one is Hero Megatron. Yes, a lot of people like the big green tank. I prefer the smaller purple tank. Now, he does have the air launching mechanism, so if I hadn't put away the missiles, I could put a missile on the end here, go boom, and maybe it would shoot. It was not the best mechanism ever. But overall, I like this tank. The Megatron rules on the front is kind of meh, but he does have Decepticon G2 symbols on crossbones, and this XD53094 with a D beneath it. I don't know what that's about. Maybe you could tell me if you know. He's a pretty cool tank. Doesn't roll worth a shit, even though he does have little wheels on the bottom here. But a cool purple tank, and he does come with weapon storage for his handgun, which plugs in right here as a separate weapon, so he can be shooting as a tank. Now the turret doesn't go anywhere. It points forward, so if you want to shoot to the side, you kind of got to turn his handgun, but still a cool toy. All right, robot mode. And it actually doesn't transform that dissimilarly from the big ass green one with the electronics. And they did reuse this mold for a Decepticon bludgeon, and kind of use this mold a bit in Robot Masters, though with modifications for reverse convoy. Now, full disclosure here, I had misplaced the gun initially. I did find it obviously before this video, but as I was looking on for it, I'm like, well, maybe I can use Bludgeon's gun, except it's green. So I had to find a black one. Reverse Convoy's gun is not even close, so I was going to use a substitution, but luckily I checked somewhere and I found his gun. So, but there he is. Now he's got the big ass orange bellows on the back of his shoulder cannon, which is kind of meh, but other than that, he's a very cool looking figure. I like the purple. Kind of gives you a little bit of, in advance, Beast Wars vibes, but a cool figure overall. Now, posability wise, I mean, he can do a full, what toes he has, toes up just about Jean-Claude Van Damme. Though the angle of it, he's not quite getting the crotch to the floor. Get the crotch to the floor, get the crotch to the floor. But he can kick forward. Again, he's got kibble here and such that keep it from going 90 degrees, but he can kick someone in the shin, which is important. He can kick backwards, he can kick to the side. So good amount of posability there. He can actually twist at the waist. That has nothing to do with the transformation, it's just there. The only one of these five that can actually twist at the waist. The arms can go all the way around. You might rub against the bellows there. Bends at the elbow, actually has a swivel, so that is nice. And if I had his 3 missiles that come with him on him, he actually has these forearm pieces that open up and you can put the missiles in here. So he's really well armed when you put those on there. If you notice any dust on here, well, he did get dusty. Head can actually turn, though if you turn it towards his shoulder cannon, that doesn't help him very much because, well, he can't see. The bellows just attaches to the back of his shoulder cannon with these 2 posts here. But there he is, Hero. I don't know why they call him Hero, but he's the Hero version of Megatron. There was going to be a differently repainted version of this mold, and they actually did release this mold again, I think in, was it this mold in G2 colors? I'm not sure. They definitely did a bludgeon, but a cool figure overall, and they're all cool figures overall. So there you have it, my top 5 G2 Decepticons. Now there's other cool ones out there. The other Skyscorchers are neat. I mean, even the color changers and the rotor force, they have their, how shall we say, good points, but these are my top 5. What are your top 5? Let me know in the description below. And if you don't have these guys and you want to get them, I will put links in the description so that you can just view the eBay listings and potentially get these guys for yourself. Saves you some typing. And I really think these are some of the most fun figures from G2. And speaking of fun, I hope you're having as much fun as I am making these videos. And while you're mulling these guys over, here's the link to my 5 favorite G2 Autobots. So that might be worth checking out. And we will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.